Everybody, Locked On 49ers hype session. The playoffs begin now. Week 18, 49ers, Rams. We've got our predictions previewing this Week 18 matchup, and we'll get into the chat. Let's get hyped. This is a hype session for Week 18 regular season finale for those 49ers right now.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker at BD Peacock at Eric_Crocker. Thanks for making us your first listen every day here on Locked On 49ers. And if you're on the live stream with us, thanks for making us maybe your last listen of your evening as we get a little bit loose here. Last podcast of the regular season before we get to our Rapid React post-game pod after Sunday's games. So I think we need to get hyped here in the chat, and we are going to get deep into the chat in this one. How y'all feeling out there? Appreciate everybody listening on the audio podcasts on your morning commute, maybe to work Friday morning. We're going to make our predictions today. The latest injury report for the 49ers. Quarterback watch, Croc, is where we begin, as we always do here. What are your thoughts after a few more sleeps, after seeing Jimmy Garoppolo with another practice under his belt? Where are you at with the quarterback thing? Who do you want? Who do you think is going to be out there throwing the ball for the 49ers Sunday?
I'm right where I was the last episode. And once I saw him throw the ball a couple of times, I said, he's playing. Kyle Shanahan wants him to play, and understandably so. You have a veteran. There's less unknown. There's less that you can throw at him that he hasn't seen that's going to surprise him in the heat of the moment, especially in one game playing. Kyle wants him to play. I get it. I understand it. And I'm assuming that he is going to be the guy under center come kickoff time.
I think it's going to be both. The more I think about it, I think both quarterbacks are going to play in this one. I think it's the way I think Kyle Shanahan will use it to his advantage, maybe knowing that that he's had the opportunity to game plan for Trey Lance twice now, 2 weeks in a row. And it's not going to be as difficult for him to just throw in a package now because he's got stuff. He's got stuff ready. He's got stuff he didn't use last week. He's got stuff he's working on this week as they split reps. And
I have some pushback, but
it's all hands on deck. Like, you want to put your best 11 out there, and at this point, Trey Lance healthy has to be one of your best 11 in certain situations at the very least, right?
So my pushback is, I think the way Kyle Shanahan sees his offense being ran, he views Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance typically the same. Like, now, obviously, Trey Lance has things that you can expand on, but I think that he wants to expand on those within the confines with whatever game plan he puts out there. But I don't think he views Trey Lance as like a Lamar Jackson type runner. So I don't think he's going to be like, all right, let's throw him in so he can run around or whatever. When he puts him in there, he wants him to do the same things that Jimmy can do, but kind of expand on that. So even if you look at the last game plan against the Houston Texans, there weren't a whole lot of designed runs for Trey Lance. What was the biggest difference? Well, being able to throw outside the numbers a lot more and everything, not having to be quick timing slants, even though he called those plays as well. So I don't really see them utilizing two quarterbacks, not to the extent that maybe most people might be thinking.
Shout out to Jason Aponte showing up in the chat. Hey, if you want to jump on the pod with us tonight, we're here. We're going to be going for a little while here. So you let us know and we'll give you the link. We can go add some folks to this pod for sure. What about not just the running element for Trey Lance, though, Croc? What about the deep passing element? Big plays, throws that Jimmy just flat out can't make, even when his thumb's 100%. If Jimmy's hampered at all, which he's going to be if he plays, what about Trey Lance trots onto the field? The Rams defense thinks, okay, here comes a run. You go play action. Boom, big throw over the top. Like that should not be out of the question to utilize Trey Lance in that way, because he can make throws that Jimmy Garoppolo can't, and big plays will be needed Sunday.
I think the biggest difference, right, is the way that Trey Lance sees the field. There are a lot of the quick passes, and Trey Lance is like, nah, I'm buying past this wide open guy for a 4-yard gain. I'm throwing it past the sticks. I'm picking up 15 yards. I'm throwing strikes. And he's definitely more willing to do those things. But when you talk about, the play action and the shot plays, I don't think that there's as big a difference between the shot plays that he dials up for Trey Lance as opposed to Jimmy Garoppolo. I think they are similar as far as the shot plays. Now, the difference is, we watched Trey Lance throw a go route to Brandon Ayuk right before the half, and it was really perfectly placed. We don't see those type of throws from Jimmy Garoppolo, the ones that aren't schemed up shot plays. So he brings that element, but again, it's still within the confines of a play call. I just think Jimmy Garoppolo bypasses attempting those type of passes. So again, that's why I think I don't think we're going to see Trey Lance, because I think he wants him to have that same element as Jimmy Garoppolo.
It's going to be interesting. Could be just Trey Lance's show on Sunday. It could be just Jimmy Garoppolo's show. I think they're both going to play. I would put money, and I don't know if there's a bet online. We'll get to that a little bit later. I don't know if bet online has it, but I would put money down that both quarterbacks take a snap in this game if Jimmy Garoppolo does start. We've got to check in with the injury report here for those 49ers. We did not have information the last time we recorded, Croc. Yet another defensive back has COVID, and that is Diamador Lenore. And these late week COVID positives are not good. The 49ers could get back Jimmy Ward and Dante Johnson and Ambry Thomas, but some of the guys that have positive tests later in the week, they're not going to be able to play Sunday. So not only a little bit worried about the outside, you start to get a little bit worried about that nickel position as well. If there's no K1, if there's no Diamador Lenore, and there's no Dante Johnson, those are all the players that have taken slot snaps, right? And Jimmy Ward would be the other one, safety dropping down, and he's tested positive for COVID too. Who's playing in the slot, Croc, if some of those guys can't play?
Eric Crocker. I got my helmet ready. I'm ready to throw on the helmet. I'll paint it red and gold, and I'll get down there in the slot. Now, I'll get ate up in the slot. No, that is an issue, but I think because of the way that the new COVID rules are, I don't even think they have to have a negative test. Right. I think they just have to say, hey, 5 days later, I have no symptoms. Yep. I'll go. And then they'll be able to suit up.
And I think a lot of players were getting tested on purpose early in the week. So if they did test positive, they could go through that process and the 5 days could pass and they would be available to play. So I have a feeling all those Ward, Ambry Thomas, K1 Williams, Dante Johnson, they're all going to be ready to go. Oh, yeah. And then you throw Emmanuel Mosley, who's practicing, in on that. Emmanuel Mosley was, I think he's still practicing on the side. I haven't seen any confirmation that he's full go yet late in the week, but he still has one more practice Friday to potentially get there. So that'd be huge for the 49ers to get Emmanuel Mosley back. And I think all those guys, as long as they don't have symptoms and those symptoms are bad enough to keep them out or more positive tests, then they're going to be ready to play. And I think that's probably what's going to happen, much like it was with Mitch Wishnowsky last week. Azeez Al-Shaair still not practicing. We had some veteran days early in the week for Nick Bosa and Alex Mack. They were back to full participants Thursday. Elijah Mitchell did not practice Wednesday. Then, as expected, getting days off because of his knee, but he's back to limited on Thursday. He'll either be limited or full practice Friday, and I think Elijah Mitchell will be able to go again. Trent Williams dealing with an elbow, not practicing. Kyle Shanahan, though, thinks that he's going to be ready to go, and that's not a worry. Jimmy G still limited. Does Jimmy have to be get a full practice in, or you think he can just kind of warm up every day and then on Sunday be like, cool, I'm ready to go?
Yeah, he don't need no practice. Okay. I mean, especially this late in the season. Matter of fact, this late in the season, they're not really practicing anyways. I mean, they do a little things up tempo barely, but right now everybody's just trying to make it through the week healthy and hopefully prepare for a playoff run.
See, that's interesting because Jimmy's been limited all week, but Kyle Shanahan said Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance have been splitting reps. I call BS on that. Do you think Shanahan's trying to pull one over, or do you think they're getting reps in limited periods and then maybe in the faster paced periods that it's just Trey Lance? Because if he's limited and Trey's full, there's something Trey's doing that Jimmy's not doing, right?
Well, I do believe that Kyle Shanahan wants Jimmy Garoppolo to play, but he wants to know that, hey, you can go through everything that we need you to go through in the game and be able to play with whatever's going on with your thumb. Now, there is I think there's some context needed with this whole thumb situation. think most people, when you think of him being 100%, I think they're assuming no pain, thumb is perfectly fine. That's not the way I see it. The way I see it is you just need 100% function of the thumb. I think the pain is going to be there. So if it's pain, you know how when you go to a doctor, the way I described it earlier, you go to a doctor, if you've ever hurt your shoulder and they ask you to lift your shoulder and they ask you how, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the pain you feel, right? And you're lifting it up and you're like, it's a 10, or, it hurts so bad, but you're able to lift your shoulder all the way up. You have full function in it. It's just pain, and that's just a tolerance thing. Now, if he tells you on a scale of 1 to 10, and you're lifting it and you can't get it past here, that's totally different. When it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo, if he has fully function, if he can grip the football, if he can throw it, but it's painful, and that's why he's not 100%, they'll shoot that thing up, and he won't have any issues. And I think Kyle Shanahan just wants to see, will he get to at least that point? And if so, that's when I think you'll see him play, and he'll be just fine.
Yeah, as we're seeing with the whole Antonio Brown thing too, with the Buccaneers, and we know this from the NFL. NFL 100%, NFL passing a physical, NFL like you're ready to play is much different than the me or you ready to play stuff that would put me out for weeks. NFL guys are going out and playing full games, and they're ready to go. Croc, you got him hyped talking about comeback season for Eric Crocker in the NFL. Mike said, I heard Josh Norman's going to start carrying his own flag so the refs can save some energy. Come on, that's just not nice. That's funny.
That would be me if I had to suit up, man. I'd have the flags ready because I'm grabbing everybody. I can't run with anyone anymore.
You would just get up in their grill and hopefully not let them off the line, because if they get off the line, it might be trouble, huh?
I out of respect for Norman, I wouldn't look like Norman. We're the same age though. We're both 34 years old, but it would be worse. It would be worse for sure.
Would you have better swag than Norman?
You know what? Norman's swag actually isn't that bad. Throughout his career, he's been solid. There was one point, I think, when he was in Washington, he wore this crazy looking face mask where I was like, what are you doing, bro? But aside from that, like, he's cool. He's cool. I have no complaints with how he looks on the field.
Crocs Island. What about like in a cover 3?
I can run some cover 3.
Cover 3. Yeah. Use that mind of yours.
Not Sherman. I can't run with Sherman's cover 3 though. This is a misconception with people when they hear like cover 3, Seattle 3, and all that. There are some sky concepts in that, but the one thing that made Seattle really good with their scheme was they ran a lot of kind of like a little bit more fire zone. I don't want to misspeak on what they were doing, but what it looked like to me, more fire zone stuff. So if you just go back and look at Seattle and how they played their defense, they were pressed up a lot of times. And a lot of times in those fire zones, you are responsible for vertically pushing routes. Now, the cover 3 part is, if a guy dives in right now on like a China route, then you don't have to like squeeze that. You can kind of drop off to a zone and you can let your linebackers kind of carry some in-breaking routes. But anything like vertically pushing to outside and down the field, a lot of times they had to run with that. So no, I would not be able to do that. Now, Tampa 2, that the Buccaneers in the early 2000s made popular, I definitely could play that.
Okay, Andre Barber style.
Yeah.
Croc, they want to know what your current 40 time would be. What was your best 40 time first, and what do you think your current 40 time would be?
Okay, so the best 40 time I've ever been clocked at was a 4.46, but I think it was fake. Well, it was fake because we ran on the track. We actually raced against each other. So that kind of boosted, you know what I'm saying? But like, as far as like the NFL timing, it's crazy. This is how weird these 40 times are. My first time running for the NFL, I ran for the New Orleans Saints. I had a private workout with them. And a safety, Chad Jones, he had a big accident. He was a safety. He was like a second round draft pick. Got hurt like right after draft day, so he never really played. But anyways, we had a workout with the Saints. I ran a 4.71. Right? The guy said, we really like the way you moved. You like your ball skills and everything. All that was terrific. You got to work on your 40 time, but we'll bring you into rookie minicamp. I went home. I trained for my 40 for 3 days, each day, 1 hour. I worked out for the Philadelphia Eagles, ran a 4.57. And then 2 weeks later, I flew out, worked out for the Jets and ran a 4.53. So I think if I really trained for it and got like, strengthened all the muscles that need to be strengthened, I probably could be like 4.49, but combine time, probably like 4.55. It wasn't a speedster.
Was it the start? Was it the stride? What was holding you back when you
definitely the start? there's a lot of explosiveness that goes into the start. And then after your drive phase, being able to like have the core strength to hold that stride, I had to improve that as well.
Believe it or not, I had some speed back in my day, but I think it was an itchy trigger finger. One of my buddies, when we were running 40s, he had me at 4.56. I don't know how legit that was, but I was the Ed McCaffrey of basically Sandlot football, because my actual football career was not great.
Yeah, you got that stride, man. You got
I
that
had some
stride.
size and some speed and some stride, but my start and my short area quicks were not great. Not great. All right, we've got to move along here. We're going to make our predictions. We're going to get deeper into this chat. Appreciate everybody who's jumped on with us live here on this late Thursday evening live stream, Friday morning for those of you that are in your car on your way to work, getting hyped for Week 18 and the regular season finale. More coming up. It's the new year, so that means New Year's resolutions. If yours is about getting fit, eating healthier, make sure you include Built Bar in your plan. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, maybe even better than a candy bar. Built Bar makes it easier to stick to your resolution because it tastes so good you'll want to eat it, unlike other protein bars that can be chalky or waxy. Or taste like a chemical spill in some cases. You want to eat healthy, but sometimes it gets super boring. By week 3, you might be feeling that right now. We're getting into the second week of January here for week 18. This is uncharted territory for NFL fans in week 18 in the second week of January. And you start to get bored with this healthy food you started eating at the new year. You're like, where's the chocolate? Well, guess what? Built Bars covered in 100% real chocolate. Most Built Bars contain only 130 calories and only 4 grams of sugar, but have a whopping 17 grams of protein. So go to builts.com, use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. That is promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. An incredible app everybody out there needs to know about, especially those of you who get gas, which is, I'm sure, a lot of you listening to this podcast in your car. Every time you fill up, you can get cash back with the Get Upside app. Just download the free Get Upside app at the App Store or Google Play right now. Use promo code TOUCHDOWN, and you can get a bonus 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up to go with the 25 cents per gallon you can already get back with Get Upside. So that's up to 50 cents cash back on your first tank. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. It's super easy. Download the app. You find the gas station you want to go to, claim your bonus cash back, and then go fill up your tank, and that's it. That cash goes right into your account. There's no catch, right into your account that you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, an e-gift card, wherever you want to go with that cash that you earn, you get it with the free Get Upside app. Use promo code TOUCHDOWN to get up to 50 cents per gallon cash back on your first tank. That is promo code TOUCHDOWN with the Get Upside app. All right, Croc. Oh, you know what? I want to get to this. This is something we saw a lot about this week, because there was that troll account that was talking about Jerry Rice's 4.740, 4.71, by the way, which was Crocky's first 40. And I want to talk about this. And it was a fake thing, and everyone got mad at this guy because he was talking about how Rice wouldn't be good in this day and age. Rice's 4.7 slow 40 time that everyone's been talking about for years. People talking about on telecasts all the time, media members as if it's a real thing. There's no evidence of this slow 40 time. Jerry Rice was not slow on the field or the 40. Bill Walsh is on record talking about having Jerry Rice on his hand time in the 4.5s. Gil Brandt, longtime scout with the Cowboys, who the Niners traded up to get Rice in front of in that draft, he had Jerry Rice in 4.5s. There were some other coaches and scouts that had Jerry Rice in 4.4s. And that's Jerry Rice coming from Mississippi Valley State, who did not train for the 40 like guys do now. Jerry Rice was not slow, not ever, not in the 40, not on the football field. Can we stop with the Jerry Rice was ever in his life slow? Today, Jerry Rice would come in here and probably blow both of us away, Crocky.
Yeah, he still moves well. He moves a lot better than I do right now. Now, Jerry Rice, you want to know if somebody's fast, just look and see if they've gotten caught from behind. And there's several times where Jerry Rice just opens up that stride and outruns people. Again, was he like just this pure burner? No. but he definitely was plenty fast enough with how he was able to win over the top and just outrun people. I mean, they created a yards after catch stat for Jerry Rice because of what he was doing. So yeah, that 40-yard dash stuff, it never made much sense to me either.
It's like this weird myth that grows and grows, and everyone talks about Jerry Rice and this slow 40 time. And I don't know, maybe someday someone got him on a watch and thought he ran slow. But man, if it was a combine back then, he would have been 4.5s, maybe 4.4s, whatever. And yeah, but there's not even evidence of this. It's like the Dion thing. Remember Dion's like 4.17 or something, and he ran it like barefoot or whatever the hell the story is. It's like people love these stories and they keep it like they grow and grow and grow. And it's like where's the evidence of any of this stuff actually
He didn't
happening?
warm up. Dion didn't warm up. They asked him, and I guess he just came in, ran his 40, ran through the tunnel, and was just like, nah. And they asked him why you didn't stretch. He said, "There's a lion stretch before the Texas prey." So Dion
He
ran
left the
his
combine,
40.
right?
Yeah, he ran his 3.940 flat and just was like, I'm done.
Oh man, I wish we had more electronic times for the guys back in the day so we could see how real some of those were. Because I mean, Dion's the fastest football player I've ever seen, so I wouldn't be shocked if he way faster than what was Chris Johnson was 4.24, right?
Yeah, he
And
was
John
fast.
Ross was 4.22. That's the record, 4.22 right now. So if Dion was 4.17, I believe it.
Listen, this is how fast Deion Sanders is. Don Beebe, speedster, right? I mean, he was like a legit 4.2 type guy. And there's a video of this. I actually I posted this video to Twitter because it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And I feel like it should get acknowledged more. Don Beebe was returning a kick or a punt. And I don't even know what Deion Sanders was doing running down. But Deion Sanders missed the tackle, like was running at him, missed the tackle. Don Beebe full stride, hit it. Boom. He's gone. 4.2 speed. Deion turns around and just runs him down. It's the most incredible display of athleticism that I have ever seen. I mean, just amazing. So however fast they say Deion is, I believe it based off of that video. Never seen anything like it before.
All right. Croc, before we get super deep into the chat here, let's do some predictions. Let's talk a little bit more about the Rams, how the 49ers are going to beat these Rams, and get deeper into the chat, and maybe have a special guest join us tonight on this podcast. Official predictions. How do you think this one's going to go Sunday? 49ers, Rams. Niners were, I think, 5.5 point underdogs to start the week. That's closer to 4.5 now. How do you see this one going Sunday?
I'll let you go first.
Oh, okay. That's okay. I think the 49ers are going to come out, and I think they are going to just punch the Rams right in the nose. Will that be enough to hold off the Rams when they come back? Because I think they're gonna make a run in this one. I don't expect to get free points on defense. I don't expect to get free points on special teams. The 49ers are gonna have to go out there and beat the Rams in this one. They might get an interception, but you can't go get a pick six and just have that free touchdown lead to start the game and then just run downhill. But the 49ers are gonna start to try to run through their face to start. And I think they can bully this team. They've proved they can do it. But the Rams have gotten a little bit more physical in their own right. I think that's what one of the keys. I think the 49ers game actually scared them a little bit. And I think the way they've run the ball since then, going more to Sony Michel, getting Cam Akers back now, I think they're going to try to take a little bit out of the 49ers handbook and be a little bit more bully. And they've been a little bit more physical since then. And I think their manhood got checked a little bit. And I think that'll probably be the pregame speech from Sean McVay, right? It was like, look, these guys beat us physically and embarrassed us in prime time. They're coming to our house. They're not going to do that. We're going to knock them out of the playoffs. So they're going to be up for this game. So the 49ers are going to try it, and let's see if they can do that. I think that's going to suppress points a little bit. I expect low points in the first half, things to get going in the second half. Can the 49ers thwart a comeback attempt if that indeed is the way things go? Give me 49ers 27, Rams 24.
You know, this game, it's been interesting. I think the thing that I'm holding on to the most is that Kyle Shanahan has just he just has Sean McVay figured out. And I've never seen anything like it. Well, yes, I have. The dominance that Seattle has had over the 49ers is similar to that, where, that's what I'm holding on to. Just the fact that Kyle owns McVay and he's just going to figure it out. But I'm also in this other weird space. When you look at just this situation in totality, it's really a win or go home type scenario, especially when you look at who the Saints are playing. I have no faith in Atlanta beating the New Orleans Saints. And it kind of reminds me, and I don't want to get too X-rated here, but it reminds me of 19-year-old Eric Crocker and having unprotected sex. And you don't think, there's a possibility that you can have a kid, but you don't think that's going to happen to you. Then all of a sudden you get a text message, I'm pregnant. It's like, wait, what? I actually am having a kid. I can't believe this. I didn't think this is something that really happened. And that's how I feel about this 49ers not playing next week. Like, to me, in my head, I've already accepted the fact, no, the 49ers are playing football next week. It's the playoff. They're playing in the playoffs. Right. But there is a scenario where, no, this is it. And it just doesn't seem like reality to me. All right. I'm intrigued by this matchup. I think the thing I'm holding on to most is 49ers just have owned Rams. But my mind, it doesn't like it. I've had this weird feeling. I've had this weird vibe throughout this week. And I can't quite put my finger on it. But if I had to just throw a score out there, I would say 49ers lose 31-24.
Oh, you're going to get that text message again, right?
From 49er fans, yeah.
Guess what, Crocky? You're a dad and no playoffs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Wow. Yeah, you did make my face turn red there. I don't know if it's that or this Manhattan I got going, but I'm feeling good here. Let's keep this rocking with the chat. I want you guys to chime in how you think things are going to go Sunday. How do you think the 49ers can beat the Rams? Like, where's that weakness? What is the thing that's going to beat the Rams if the 49ers win? What is the thing that the 49ers won't be able to do if they lose this one? And I think we might have a special guest joining us on the pod, Croc, in segment number 3 coming up. But I want to let the folks out there know about betonline.ag. If you are feeling good about this 49ers team and you want to put some money on it, go to betonline.ag. You can find all of the best lines, props, odds, everything you need to have a happy new year of betting as we continue this march toward the playoffs and beyond. BetOnline remains the number one spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. New year and a new upgraded desktop and mobile website. To sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit, just use promo code LOCKEDON to get started. Not only football, basketball, hockey, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for this 2022 season. BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, it's that time. Let's bring on a very special guest. He was in the chat earlier. You know him. You love him. The 49ers. I would say he's 49ers Twitter, his very own Jason Aponte.
Spicy Aponte.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Listen, before I went on here, I called my mom and I said, I think I made it. I think I made it. Right now, I feel like this is the moment. I made it. Mom, I made it. To be on with the Locked On 49ers, gentlemen, this is incredible, man. And I've been enjoying. I don't know what I walked into because I kind of heard Croc halfway in talking about a text message that he got. And, I'll go back and I'll listen as I always do to the audio portion. But it's great to be here with you, gentlemen. And I can't really describe how thrilling this is for me.
Oh man, I appreciate it. We had our predictions, and Croc was trying to draw a correlation between the 49ers not being in the playoffs and him getting a text message that he was going to be a dad, and it was something that he did not expect to be happening. Do you expect to be getting any text messages on Monday morning, Jason, or do you think the 49ers will be in the playoffs next week?
About being a dad, no. About the 49ers being in the playoffs, yes, for sure, 100%. And here's what it is. Realistically, when I look at the way that Brandon Staley, Raheem Morris's defenses are and their philosophies, a lot of them are very much, hey, we're going to play too high. You can run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. We're not going to give anything up over our heads, right? But somehow that plays into exactly what Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan want to do. So I heard you guys talking a little bit about, well, Kyle Shanahan owns Sean McVay. I think he owns their defensive philosophy. And for whatever reason, they don't really change that up too much. And it's just the way that they want to do it. It's the way, hey, we'll give up the run game to you. That's fine. We have enough on offense where we can outscore you. The problem is if the 49ers hold the ball for 11 minutes, 12 minutes per drive as they have, and out-physical them, because there is a tendency for the Rams to kind of take their ball and go home a little bit when they kind of get punched in the mouth. They really don't. That's not their style of game. And when you look at their record against winning teams and teams that have winning records, doesn't really look the same as it does, right? Like they can pound on the Jacksonville Jaguars all they want. But when they're faced with a challenge, they kind of fold up a little bit and go home, right? So in terms of the 49ers owning the Rams, I just really believe that their defensive philosophy lends itself to exactly what the 49ers want to do, especially if you're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo being the starter. So I've got the 49ers winning this game. And I've got them winning this game the same way that they've won it 5 times in a row, 4 times with Jimmy Garoppolo, 1 time with Nick Mullins, is we're going to out-physical you, and we are going to impose our will and live in the places that we want to live. Unless the Rams drastically change the way that they've been playing the defense, then I don't really foresee any changes unless the 49ers aren't as efficient on offense as they usually are against the Rams.
And I don't see them changing their defense. Raheem Mostert, I keep saying that. Raheem Morris, when he got to LA and was the defense coordinator, they made him keep the philosophy that Brandon Staley used. So this isn't even technically Raheem Morris's scheme. Is like they brought in a coordinator, was like, hey, we love you as a coach, but we want you to run this guy's plays. We want you to teach his scheme. And for whatever reason, the 49ers have done a terrific job against that type of scheme. And it was fairly similar even with Wade Phillips there. They ran a lot of too high. They ran a lot of, off coverage with the outside guys. They continued that with Staley. They're continuing that with Morris. And it does seem like Kyle Shanahan definitely has that scheme's number for whatever reason.
I think that the stars and scrubs lineup that the Rams have is really, I think it's a good way to build a team in some cases, but I think against Kyle Shanahan, it's the worst type of defense to have because Kyle Shanahan is so good at using what your rules are as a defense against you, and that means he finds out where the rules are going to be in his favor, and that's not going at Aaron Donald. That's not throwing at whichever guy Jalen Ramsey is going to be covering one-on-one. So in a lot of ways, I think it's a more difficult matchup for the Rams than most other teams. And I think Kyle Shanahan knows what Sean McVay is trying to do, and I think that helps the 49ers defense as well. So I think there is a lot to the Shanahan versus McVay thing, and there's a reason why he's got his number. But it's so hard to beat a team twice. And if the 49ers beat the Rams, they might have to play them again and stay in LA and try to beat them a third time, which is nearly impossible. So this is going to be a wild couple of weeks if the 49ers win this and have to play the Rams again, or they got to go play Tom Brady and we get Brady versus Jimmy Garoppolo, right?
The AB list Bucks.
Yeah, the AB list Bucks, the Godwin-less Bucks.
Maybe Levante David.
Yeah, they're in a rough spot right now. You might want to play that team. You never want to say, hey, I want to go play against the GOAT, but they might be the team you want to play the most in the first round of the playoffs. And I don't think you want to try to beat the Rams 3 times in a row, but I think the 49ers can beat the Rams 2 times in a row. They've done it before. And I'm glad you brought up the Nick Mullins game. We hadn't really talked about that much at all. And I mean,
Nick Mullins.
It doesn't matter who's playing quarterback, right? Like if it's Jimmy, if it's Trey Lance, the 49ers can go win this football game. They just can't kill themselves, right? That's a big part of this. They just can't beat them.
Is it as simple as Kyle Shanahan just knowing McVay and everything that McVay wants to do and how he thinks? Because, when I'm playing Madden against my big brother, I know exactly how my brother wants to play. I know what he wants to do on certain downs. I know in certain formations. I know exactly what play he's using. Do you think that's kind of what's going on between Shanahan and McVay, just truly knowing each other? And it's harder for McVay because Kyle is kind of the master, while McVay is more of the sensei. Like, he's the guy underneath him. He's not the sensei, but he's like the student or the pupil, whatever they call it. He's kind of that guy, right? Where it's like, I learned from him, but Kyle's like, haha, I did not teach you everything, right? And Kyle has been able to use that against him and go to his coordinators and say, hey, these are the things that he wants to do. And if the 49ers have the guys out there, they're able to execute. Now, we did see early on, I believe in the first year, McVay won those matchups. But I feel like since then, Kyle Shanahan has won like every single one. And that's very interesting.
What I find funny is it feels like McVay's pressing a little. And what I mean by that is the fake field goal and having to make plays. And he's it's in his head a little bit. It really is. It is at certain points. And when the 49ers are doing what they're doing, and I'll point back to the Monday Night Football game. Elijah Mitchell didn't necessarily have an efficient game running the ball, right? 27 for 91. That's like 3 per. That's not really where you want to be as a running back. You want to be in that 4+. But what the 49ers did so well in that game was they were on schedule in terms of downs, right? You want to put Jimmy Garoppolo in a spot where, hey, if you want to convert a 3rd down, it's 3rd and 3. You know what? If you want to run the ball on 3rd and 3 and you get 2, then you run the quarterback sneak and you get it, and you continue to chew the clock. So it's more about what they know they can do and accomplish against this defense and knowing what you can't test. Right? Like, Kyle doesn't go into this game saying, hey, we're just going to throw the ball at Jalen Ramsey a bunch, or we're going to drop back a bunch while we let Aaron Donald try to go up against Brunskill and Compton. It's more about run right at those guys. And if you're on schedule and you are doing what you can do and you're executing your game plan, it becomes very hard to beat. And I will go back to mindset when it comes to the Rams as well, too. McVay is like, it's almost like that water boy stuff, right? Like, I hate to make the same comparison. Like when the guy with the green notebook gives it up and he's looking at the other guy and he kind of locks up. That's kind of where we're at right now with McVay and Kyle Shanahan on the other side, right? So if Kyle is rolling and this offense is not turning the ball over, not putting Jimmy in spots where it's like 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, which is not where you want to be with any quarterback, realistically, it's realistically the 49ers world, and they've got to kind of deal with it. And it's the only reason that I really, point to that is that we're at 5 games, and 4 of them with Jimmy Garoppolo, 1 with Nick Mullins. It's realistically what they want to do and how they've been doing it. It doesn't really matter the quarterback. I think it's more about Kyle knows what he wants to do and try and stop us. There you go.
James says, I always think of the water boy with McVay has the notebook, but did not come up with the plays. Kyle is the real playmaker.
There you go.
I don't know. I wouldn't go that far. Like, McVay is a really good coach. Just
no, he is.
Styles make fights, and for whatever reason, Kyle Shanahan's teams have had Sean McVay's team's numbers, and that continued when it went from Goff to Matthew Stafford. And Stafford's been throwing a ton of interceptions, did to the 49ers the first time, has been on just about every game since. And so the 49ers are going to need some more of that, just being a little bit, I don't know what, I think maybe there's a certain amount of Matthew Stafford thinks he can make throws that 2009 Matthew Stafford could, but he can't quite make those throws anymore because there's some head scratching stuff. It's like, where are you going with this? What are you trying to do? You're throwing into triple coverage. Like that can't make Sean McVay happy. What do you make of the Stafford, the Stafford? I don't want to call them meltdowns, but just he's throwing the ball to the other team too much, and he did to the 49ers and really put his own team in a hole. And he's been doing it numerous times. Why do you think that is, Jason?
That's a real head scratcher. And that's what I'm talking about with teams that are winning teams. They're going to capitalize on those things and not let you come back. The only reason they beat the Ravens this past week was because Lamar Jackson wasn't healthy. And nothing to take away from Tyler Huntley because he's played very well. But I don't know what it is. It's Matthew Stafford is the king of these throws that you look and you say, man, I can't believe he just made that throw. And then sometimes you're like, what on earth were you looking at? And I don't know what it is. He rushes his process. Sometimes he's not seeing the field as well. But winning teams capitalize on that. If he gives the 49ers 1 or 2 of those, then they're in trouble. And they're not equipped to come from behind, especially considering the gap that we have right now in terms of the 49ers dominating them. Like, if the 49ers are able to do what they did in Monday Night Football, which was first drive, come out, 11 minutes. Now you've got to do something. Matthew Stafford throws an interception. The 49ers go back and score again. Then he throws another interception. They're down 17-0. That's not how they want to play. And that's not how anybody can really play realistically. But this Rams team, for whatever reason, when things are not going well, they snowball. So I think the 49ers, for all intents and purposes, just really have to play their game and play their this is why Jimmy Ward is so important, in my opinion. This is why he needs to be back in this game, because leader of the defense, understands coverages, and he's so versatile. Cooper Kupp got many of his yards in that Monday Night Football game when the game didn't matter. But when it mattered, I don't know what it is about what goes on with the Rams, but they always seem to play their worst games against the 49ers. And what I mean by that is, even when Jared Goff was there, Cooper Kupp would drop passes. He dropped passes in this game. The team misses blocks. Like, I don't know what it is, and there's no way to quantify that, right? Like, that's not me trying to be smart or anything like that, because I have no idea why that happens. But the 49ers, realistically, all they have to do is stick to what they've been doing. They seem to have the formula against the defensive fronts that they see and the scheme that they see, and they should be fine as long as they don't turn the ball over. Now, that begs the question, can the quarterback not turn the ball over, be efficient, hit those third downs, hit those fourth downs? Remember that Debo touchdown was on fourth down. The one that pretty much sealed the game. That was on fourth down. Kyle ended the game on that. So then that goes back to who's the starter, what's the game plan? And I think that right now it's hard to figure out who it is. I know I heard you guys' predictions, but I really have no grasp on what's happening right now. And I think that Kyle likes it that way.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty big. Third downs is key. Like, if the 49ers can be efficient, run the ball, and they can win the game without those turnovers from Stafford. But, it would help to have some of those go your big throws. That's why I was talking about getting Trey Lance in there, even if he doesn't start. Can you, before we let you go and before we end this pod, I don't know if you guys want to hang out a little bit for some overtime here, but we've got to end the regular portion of this podcast. Jason, can you split the tie between me and Croc? It's going to be all Jimmy Garoppolo. I think even if Jimmy Garoppolo starts, we're going to see Trey Lance. So either Trey Lance is going to start or Trey Lance is going to be in this football game. What do you think? Who's playing quarterback for your San Francisco 49ers Sunday?
There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure, just like it is on Kyle Shanahan to make the right decision here. There's a lot of pressure on whoever's the quarterback to get it done, like right now, right? But I don't think we see the two quarterback thing. I just don't. And the only reason that I don't is that Kyle is so steadfast on my play calling. I can't back and forth. And I think he wants to prove a lot of people wrong in terms of, the people that are asking questions about, hey, you should use the two quarterbacks. Well, you're not me, and I get to do what I want. So I'm just going to say that I don't think we see the two quarterback thing. And I also get afraid of the idea of, hey, let's say you start Jimmy Garoppolo, and let's say the game doesn't start to go the way that you want. Don't put Trey Lance in any sort of position where he has to come in and save your season, because I feel like that's also detrimental as well. But I feel like one way or another, Kyle's going to make his bet and he's just going to stay with his decision. And that's not based on, me disagreeing with, you, Brian. It's just more about Kyle's rigid. And the one thing he's been consistent on and the entire time is just Jimmy's our starter if he's healthy, and he's the guy we're going to roll with. So I'll just lean on that.
Yeah,
Jason, I didn't bring you on this podcast.
I know.
Okay. You're supposed to be on my side. I brought you in here. That's all right. You can agree.
Sorry, bro.
That's okay. You can agree with Croc. Jason, tell the listeners out there where they can find you, where they can find your YouTube channel.
Well, first of all, guys, thank you for this. Again, I joked earlier about making it I really look up to you guys, and this was a huge thrill to be on with you guys. I promise you, I'm not even joking in any way, but you guys can find me on Twitter at Jason Aponte 2103, on YouTube at Jason Aponte. Call me Mr. 5K on YouTube right now. Thank God. I appreciate that. But yeah, no, just a thrill to be on with you gentlemen, man. I look up to you guys. You guys are guys that inspire me to continue to grow, and I hope to be you guys one day.
I appreciate those kind words, Jason. If you want to stick around and hang out with us, we're going to get into the chat here. So those of you in the chat, stick around. We're going to hang out a little bit, go overtime with you. For those of you listening on the audio only pods, appreciate you. Thanks for making us your first listen every day right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. For your second listen, you can find me doing the Peacock and Williamson NFL show daily. You can find Croc doing the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. Go check out Jason Aponte on Twitter at Jason Aponte 2103. We're going to have to find out what those numbers mean in just a minute here.
It's my burner, like Croc says.
And his Jason Aponte YouTube page as well, talking about these 49ers. Croc and I back post-game, post-regular season finale. The playoffs start now. Be back next time right here. Locked On 49ers.
Same old sorry ass Rams. So long.
All right, let's keep this going in the chat. All of you hang out. Appreciate you guys. We're going to get deeper into the chat, take some questions here, have a little fun for a little bit. 5KJ is going to stick around here for a little while. Jason, you got to go. No problem. Just bail out whenever you need to. If you want to hang out, we'll hang out.
I'll do whatever you guys want, man. I'm good here. This is a blast.
So Y2103 after Jay Aponte on.
So 21 baseball number, 3 basketball number, 2 plus 1 equals 3. And Jason Aponte was taken. Croc always tells me all the time, dude, I'm tired of your name. You need to change it. It looks like a burner. It looks like one of those names that pops up in your mentions. It's always yelling at you about something that's crazy. Change it to Jason Aponte NFL, Jason Aponte 49ers. But you know what? Here's the thing about me. When you tell me something bothers you, I'm going to stick with it. Like if Croc wanted me to change it, all he had to do was say, yo, I think your name is dope. I would have been like, damn, I need to change this right away. but when you tell me that you don't like it, just like any other thing, I'm going to stick with it. So I'm not leaving it. That's it. It
looks like a burner account.
It does. I agree with you. But I have a face to it. And
you do have a face.
So I have a face to it. So that's the only thing that distinguishes me from that.
Hey, Peacock, we do have somebody in the chat. Daddy Drew 1. He says, please talk about OBJ, how much better he is and how our COVID CBs are going to cover him. I don't look at the 49ers corners or DBs as COVID DBs because I think once game time rolls around, they're all going to be in there active and ready to roll. When it comes to Odell Beckham and kind of what's going on there, we talked about the first interception that Matthew Stafford threw down the field. That was some miscommunication with Odell and Stafford. Since then, Odell and Stafford have gotten closer to being on the same page. They're not quite there yet. The touchdowns are happening. They had some big plays. They're going to him in the red zone. All that's awesome. But also, we saw a pick 6 last week. That was Odell Beckham running the wrong route. The quarterback throwing it in there. It gets picked off. And, Matthew Stafford looks crazy for throwing this pick 6. Everybody's like, what the heck is going on? Not knowing OBJ not on the same page. So there's still a little bit of that as you could expect, especially for a guy that came in mid-season. But ultimately, Odell Beckham, he's definitely much improved. Now, how the 49ers are going to cover him? I think the same way they've done with everyone else. Play too high, protect the guys on the outside, limit the deep shots. These guys are special between OBJ, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford. So at some point, they'll get theirs. But the biggest thing that you can do for yourself if you're the 49ers is limit their big plays. And if you can make Matthew Stafford have to march down the field, that opens the door for more attempts and more opportunity for him to make a mistake and throw an interception. So play too high, keep things in front of you. 49ers have typically done a good job of doing that throughout the season.
Croc, talk a little bit about some of the coverages that the 49ers have used recently. I think there's been some interesting stuff that D'Amico Ryans has done to disguise things. Like there was one a couple of weeks ago where Ambry Thomas went from corner and he kind of dropped back. It looked like cover 3 and then he dropped back and then he was cover 2 and he was the safety on that side and they dropped somebody down. Or last week, just dropping a safety late. It looks like it's 1 high. You drop a safety late. Now it's cover 2. Or there was a good breakdown from Dan Orlovsky talking about one of the coverages where it looked like it was cover 1 or cover 3 from the snap, and then right as the ball was being snapped, some late movement, and it was actually cover 6 that the 49ers were going on the back end, and it ended up being an interception. So have you been impressed with some of the coverages there, and do you think that's one of the things that the 49ers have done well with to limit opposing passing games, because they're not just lining up and saying, okay, rookie Ambry Thomas, guess what? You get to cover this guy one-on-one all over the field.
Yeah, I think D'Amico Ryans has done a terrific job all year. There were 2 games where I was like, not quite on his A game with what he thought was going to happen heading into the game, or the adjustments weren't made. It was the Arizona game, the second one. I thought that was really weird. Maybe he was prepared for Kyler Murray. They got Colt McCoy, and maybe Arizona just changed everything up. There's that aspect of it. The other game was Chicago, where I'm assuming he thought the 4-man pass rush was going to get more pressure than what they did, and they just couldn't really get to Justin Fields, and Justin Fields had probably one of his most efficient games all year. So looking at all of that, outside of that, he's done a terrific job of his adjustments. I think his disguising, that's what you're alluding to, it has been on point. You talked about having this corner start down, come back, then bail, and to where he's a safety. That's essentially an inverted 2 coverage. So doing things like that and moving, all that does is make the quarterback have to hold the ball for a little bit longer. If he can do that, guys like Nick Bosa, he's getting to the quarterback. Arden Key, he's done a terrific job getting to the quarterback. 49ers pass rush has definitely done a better job of generating pressure on a more consistent basis. I think all those, kudos to D'Amico Ryans. He's been doing a terrific job.
A lot of people think Jason Aponte looks like a lot of different people. I don't know who Shades from The Punisher on Netflix is. I don't even know who John B is. What do you think?
You don't know who John B is?
Yo, Eric Crocker. Eric Crocker knows who John B is.
Who's John B?
Yeah, man. He's the.
Don't know?
Yeah.
I know John B from Sports Center.
No, John B was a singer probably when we were like, 8, 9, 10 years old. You're a couple years older than me, so around that, like. He's a singer, but he's like a white dude, but he got like some flavor to him.
The beard, right? And
yeah.
he's who was it? He's a Babyface product. Like he's from LaFace, that record company. So Babyface put him on. I know all about John B because
you do look like John B.
Of course, and he looked it up. All right, so look, real quick. I know this is not football related. My brother, who looks more like John B than I do, right? He used to go to the New York City Puerto Rican Day Parade and just be himself. And women would be like, "Oh, John B." And he would like sign autographs. And they would be like, "Oh, can you sing?" He'd be like, "Nah, I got a show tonight, shorty," or whatever. So like it runs in the family, like for sure. Like I promise you that's a joke that has been told about me since middle school, wow. since high school. And I only grew the beard because of COVID. Like I literally had the goatee only, but when the beard came, it's inevitable. So yeah, I've heard that a million times.
I've never.
I think the fans are disappointed. They're disappointed that you haven't heard of John B. Peacock.
Yeah, Peacock. What happened?
I feel good about myself for not rocking the John B. back in the day. He looks like, was he in Color Me Bad and then broke out with the solo?
He looks like that guy. That's a good way to look at it.
No, I was not rocking the John B. Whenever the heck that was happening, I was probably listening to something much louder than John B. He doesn't look like he rocks hard enough for me. You know what, guys? I think it's time to boost this up a little bit more. We have another special guest joining us. He is another famous 49ers YouTube. That would be the one, the only, John Chapman.
Let's go.
Let's go.
See, I hear y'all talking John B. Now it's time for John C. What's up, guys?
Yeah, I don't know about the John C. Also, a former member of Color Me Bad.
That is correct. That is correct. I was the right before I started doing my Buzz Lightyear impersonations live. That was my gig. That was what I did. So, what's up, guys? How we doing?
We're doing fantastic. How are your acapella skills?
Oh, they're bad, man. Tone deaf. I can play the guitar pretty good.
Okay.
That's probably why my wife married me, but can't sing for no talent whatsoever.
Can we expect you to play the guitar at the Gold Rush road trip party this weekend?
I can bring it out, man. I don't know how many females are going to be in attendance because we're going to have to put some warning labels out there. I'm just going to be honest.
And it won't take that many tequila shots to bring it out if the guitar is on hand. Because I've seen Chapman in action, man, in Chicago and Philly. That man's a wild boy, man.
We like to have a good time, man. We like to have a good time.
John, who is playing quarterback for your San Francisco 49ers Sunday? I'm going to kick you off the chat if you don't agree with who I think it's going to be.
I think it's going to start off Jimmy G, unfortunately. I think that's who's going to start it off. I mean, he's been throwing 3 days in a row. Might not be what I want or what everybody else wants, but I think that's what Kyle wants. So I think it's going to start Jimmy G. And, man, I think if there was ever a time we're going to see two quarterbacks, this is the week, finally. Whether Kyle wants to or not, I think it's going to happen.
Why do you say unfortunately?
Right.
You said we're going to see Jimmy. You said unfortunately. So I caught that.
My biggest thing, and I'm not like an anti-Jimmy guy. My wife, she's coming out for the party Saturday. She's wearing a Jimmy G jersey, which is awesome. But my biggest thing is this. Jimmy Garoppolo has kind of proven with this squad, the 2021 squad, that interceptions and turnovers he can't overcome and get a W. In Trey Lance's second start, he proved that he could still kind of overcome that. So that's what I'm looking at. Now, again, I'm not an anti-Jimmy guy, and I think he's a very, very capable quarterback, and I think he can win this game. However, we're seeing the Rams come off of back-to-back 3 turnover games that they won. I think this is going to be a slug out. Kittle talked about today how it's going to be a body bag type of game. I think you're going to need some explosive offense to get out there. And my number one critique of Jimmy G, struggles coming over the interceptions. Number 2, lack of fourth quarter points. This is going to come down to the wire. And we saw Trey Lance put up 13 points, which is more fourth quarter points than we saw in the previous 6 games with Jimmy Garoppolo.
John, I know you're a big film guy, and I'm sure you've got some film previews up for this game on your YouTube channel. Is there anything you see with the Rams where you're like, okay, this is where the 49ers are going to beat those Rams Sunday?
You got to run the ball. And this is, it's not even as much what the 49ers want to do. It's what the Rams defense allows to happen. You can run the ball against this defense and have success doing so. Usually we always say, oh, run away from Aaron Donald. You go back to the previous 49ers game. No, you run at Aaron Donald. You allow Brunskill to have, I don't know what it is. He's got like a rare Pokemon card that like allows him to level up against Aaron Donald. But you got to attack those A and B gaps. I think that's kind of what's key there. And if you do that, play action, move the pocket, that's kind of where the Rams defense kind of struggles a little bit. 3rd and long, you don't want to be against this defense. So we'll see what happens there.
Jason, do you think that Kyle Shanahan is throwing out a bigger smokescreen than he did in April when it came to the draft with the Jimmy G stuff, having him throw in practice for the cameras just to get the Rams to prepare for Jimmy Garoppolo because he knows the rookie's going to play because Jimmy's thumb is not good enough to be a starting quarterback this week?
Yeah, let me put my tinfoil hat on, right? Let's do this. And I heard what Croc said earlier. And I'm not going to necessarily disagree with it, but let me just give you my theory.
But you're going to disagree with it.
Oh, yeah. No, it's like when somebody says no disrespect, but they're about to disrespect you or like that type of thing. Right. I think having the open portion to the media and showing Jimmy Garoppolo is, hey, Rams, here he comes. You better watch out. He's coming for you. And then when things afterwards happen, it's more Jimmy's like, bye, media. Oh, man, he puts his hand right in the bag, like of ice. And he's just like, he's got to like work on the thumb, right? And I think that they kind of just go away from that and they immediately go work on the thumb. They try to tape it a different way. He's trying to figure out how to temper the paint, right? Like and figure out the paint. For me, that just speaks to Trey Lance taking more of the actual reps during the game and what's the game plan going to be about, right? And that's my thing is I heard Croc say, hey, man, he doesn't really have to practice or anything like that. Here's the thing, Croc. I would say that about Rodgers, Mahomes, certain guys. I don't know if Jimmy is one of those guys that like can't practice all week with the first team and you could just say, hey, man, just throw him in there and he got it. Like, that's just my opinion, right? But for me,
I think he has to practice. I'm saying like, I don't think it has to be like super up-tempo, like I think they're going to want to see it just to know that he's going to be okay with his thumb, and that with people around him and everybody moving more full speed, and them have to snap off those timing routes and make sure that thumb is okay, that he can get through a game. I think they want to see that, but in the sense of just like having to maybe throw as much as he would on a typical week, they'll probably scale back a little bit from that. I'm assuming, but I don't know.
Well, again, and we're all assuming, and that's what I'm talking about. Is Kyle is here's the thing. Kyle
this is what they want,
right? And Kyle is trying to do everything he can to get Jimmy to play, and and literally that's what he wanted to do last week until he realized, oh wait, it's the Houston Texans. I can win this game this way. But I will agree with you on this. Kyle wants Jimmy to play in this game as bad as anything. Like he does not want to run Trey Lance out there. That's not his thing. But for me, I feel like a lot of the stuff that he's doing in the open portion of media is to say, hey, look, Rams, look at him throwing from 15. Look at him throwing at 25. Man, you better keep that in the back of your mind. And Jimmy Garoppolo's coming for you. But at the same time, realistically, he has to work on that thumb so much afterwards that I don't know if he's taking the first team reps. I don't know if he's the one who's under center. And realistically, what I'm more worried about is, can Jimmy Garoppolo be under center? And if that thumb is numb, hold the ball and not fumble it and hand it off, right? Like, and that's realistically where I'm at. So I just, again, maybe he is smoke screening, but I just have a hard time believing that he's putting in a similar game plan for Trey Lance that will be employed if Jimmy Garoppolo is ready to go.
I'll say this: if there's any question about him being able to take a snap from under center come game day, he won't play. Right. Kyle Shanahan is not going to put his team at that type of disadvantage with him. Like, hey man, he can't even take a snap. Or am I worried about the ball hitting his thumb the wrong way, and then all of a sudden now we have to get him out of the game? So if I had to guess, those are things that they're going to test during practice. They're going to see how he takes snaps. They're going to put him in all scenarios that will be close to, as close to a game type scenario as possible, just to test it and see if he's going to be okay. And if he fails any of those tests, I don't think he'll see the field.
You touched on a couple of things there, Jason, that I think are interesting. One is, okay, they're sharing snaps at practice. Kyle Shanahan, does he have time to put 2 full game plans in? Because it's a different game plan for Trey than it is for Jimmy. Does he already know it's going to be Trey and that's the game plan he's implementing? Does he already know it's going to be Jimmy and he's trying to just let Trey kind of work with the Jimmy game plan, and he'll just have to go with that game plan if Jimmy can't go or gets hurt or something during the game? Because that seems less than ideal. And as soon as I saw Jimmy Garoppolo throwing passes at practice, I thought, oh, it's looking okay off his hand. He's going to play. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, because I was like maybe 10% chance he plays. After I saw that, it's like, okay, it's more than 50% chance that Jimmy's going to play, just seeing him throw. But then hearing Jimmy after practice talking about how he's trying to learn a different way to throw, that you're going to put that quarterback out there? I don't know, man. John, like, what do you think? You're going to put that quarterback out there when you're sharing reps in practice and you've got probably 2 different game plans and a guy has to learn a new way to throw the football? That doesn't seem right.
And I think there's a difference between what Shanahan wants out there and what Jimmy G and his agent want out there. There's been constant back and forth, right? Shanahan gets up there. He's like, yeah, it's mild thumb sprain. Within 20 minutes, Ian Rappaport says, per sources, all this other stuff's going on. And so, again, you get out there, they purposely film Jimmy throwing the ball. And then what happens as soon as Jimmy gets up there to talk Wednesday? Oh, man, it starts cussing and I can't do all this stuff. So I think Kyle wants to keep Jimmy out there. And if he goes out there and scripted plays and lights it up for the first 2 drives, I think he stays. But Shanahan, again, he's talked about how they're splitting reps, right? So it's kind of prepare for both situations. But if Jimmy G does light it up, I think he stays out there. But Kyle's putting him out there. I really do think that's going to happen. I don't know. Crocky, tell me I'm crazy, man. I know I'm crazy, but on this topic.
Crazy like a fox. Crazy like a fox. John, you said that one of the biggest keys was running the football. The Newt has a question here. Over under 40 runs this time? I believe it was 44 runs the last time the 49ers played the Rams.
If you hit 32, you win the game. So I'm going to say under 40, but 32, you win the game. That's kind of the key number that usually I kind of tick it up or tick it down based on the over under score. 32 runs. That's what I've circled.
All right. So the 49ers run the ball. Then you go to the play action pass game. AJ says, late to the pod, so I apologize if you already covered this. Do we play the short pass game against the Rams to keep Donald and Ramsey out of the game as much as possible? Croc, do you just avoid Ramsey altogether? Do you challenge him a little bit? Do you try to pull them in with that play action passing game? And especially if Trey's in there, maybe see that bootleg over the top, hit Debo deep. Let's go. Let's put some points on the board.
I stay away from Ramsey as much as possible because he's a tone setter. He brings like this just different persona, like this attitude, this kind of flair to the game. And the last thing you want to do is get him going, get him chirping, get him yapping. So stay away from him and just scheme around him. Now, the interesting thing they've done with him to kind of get him more in the mix is he plays more nickel. He plays that star position in their defense. So he's involved in a lot, whether it's the run game, whether it's short passing game, intermediate type stuff. He gets involved in a lot more than he typically would if he were just an outside corner. So it is going to be a little harder to just completely scheme around him, especially if it's Jimmy Garoppolo who wants to throw more over the middle and he's kind of hanging out in those type of areas. But as much as you can, I would make it a conscious effort to figure out like, okay, how can I put everyone around Ramsey in a bind and still be productive?
Yeah, there was the last game which the 49ers won, Ramsey was in the hip pocket of Juwan Jennings doing a drag across the middle, and Jimmy tried to hit him, and it was on the back shoulder. It was almost an interception last time. And so you're exactly right, Croc. Like, it's hard to scheme against him because he bounces in and out, and he'll cover your number 3, your number 2. He'll cover anybody. And so that's one of the things that scares me a little bit about Jimmy G, because I don't think Jimmy G cares who he's throwing against. That's just kind of his mindset. And that scares me a little bit just because the over the middle throws with the interceptions is somewhat of a problem. It's a problem.
Yeah, I got one for you. I got one for you, Jason, when it comes to the short passing game. And look, maybe they decide to put Ramsey on George Kittle and try to erase him. And I would understand not really going heavily to George Kittle. But Kittle had those 2 games where he had 9 catches for 181. He had 13 catches for 151 yards, 93 yards the next week. The last 2 games, George Kittle has had 2 catches on 3 targets and 1 catch on 2 targets, which to me is just completely unacceptable. You've got to run the offense through George Kittle, right?
Yeah, and there's 2 ways to look at this, right? There's we expected this Texans game to be a heavy run game because they were susceptible to the run. And there's 37 runs in this game, and that was expected. And George Kittle is such a boon to the run game. He's an extra lineman. He's literally an extra lineman out there who can leak out and get passes. But I agree with you 100%. There's a point in this game where you have to stretch out this defense and get your matchups, right? And now, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, okay, now you have your shot. You're not going to test Jalen Ramsey. That should not be the motive. And that's never where Jimmy is going to test Jalen Ramsey because largely he plays outside. Even if he dips inside, okay, I see you. I don't want to try that. But at the same time, George Kittle does need to be a large portion of this offense. And I agree with you 100%. He needs to be more. He needs to be involved more. You don't pay him to just be a run blocker. And that's just the run blocking is something that you get as extra. You didn't pay him all that money to just be a run blocker. You want him to be able to get the ball, move into space. And I agree with you 100%, Brian. You need to get all of these guys involved. And I feel like 49er fans are waiting for the one game, and we haven't seen it yet, where George Kittle goes off, Deebo Samuel goes off, Brandon Ayuk goes off. We haven't seen it yet. And for whatever reason, whether that's game plan specific, team specific, how you want to run the offense is whatever. But at the same time, you have all these weapons, and there is ways to get all of them involved. So is it about Kyle doing what he wants to do that week, using guys specifically how they want to use them, and having that luxury of having one of your best players be an extra lineman? Who knows? But 49er fans are waiting for Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle to have that game where they all go crazy or they all have very solid games, and they're all involved. So I agree with you.
Croc, I want to go to you on this one. There's a few folks in the chat that are talking about Rapp. Taylor Rapp is the one that you go after. And incidentally, it was Rapp and Ramsey that got into a little scuffle on the field as teammates. We were hoping maybe Ramsey needs to get suspended for this game. Yeah, it definitely is not going to happen there. But
Yeah.
what do you think about that? And as a former player, what's that like? Like, have you ever been in a situation where you're like, I kind of want to punch my own teammate right now in the middle of a game?
Nah, I wasn't that type of leader, and I definitely didn't have that type of leader playing with me. Now, I mean, there's been scuffles in practice. I can't tell you how many scuffles I've gotten in the practice. But in the actual game, like in the middle of a game in the huddle, like on the field, never.
But
It
even
was
those
interesting.
scuffles were against offensive players, probably, right?
100% every single time. Yeah, so just to see it against your own guy, that's even more just weird. That whole incident was odd to see, and I was like, wait, did Ramsey just punch him? And then they showed the replay, and I was like, wow, he did. Taylor Rapp, I do think that is a guy that you can kind of target and get in the bind. Now, the one play that he's really, famous for when it comes to the 49ers is him and Ramsey giving up that big play to Emmanuel Sanders to kind of close out a game late against the LA Rams in 2019. Taylor Rapp, I believe he was a rookie at that time. He is much more of a veteran now, but still, he's not a guy that has like this big time, athleticism. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, I am looking for ways to put him in the bind and get him kind of matched up on some of our guys in space. How do you do that? If you can figure that out, then I attack it. It's a little bit more difficult when you have Jimmy Garoppolo just because he's not a guy that's going to really drive the ball down the field, but still, you can still take advantage of, even within the strengths of Jimmy Garoppolo, just snapping those balls off right now in the area of him and seeing if you can get some big catch and run opportunities.
John, that kind of makes me a little bit worried about a 49ers offense with Jimmy Garoppolo that has been somewhat condensed in the middle of the field, then bad thumb. Does that get condensed even more? And then you've got Jalen Ramsey in there. That does kind of worry me a little bit.
There's no way he can throw the ball further than what he has been doing, right? So it's not like his average depth of target's going to, increase by any stretch of the imagination. And we've seen defenses start to sink in the middle of the field. And so, yeah, that's problematic. However, if you get ahead of the downs and you establish the running game early and you move the pocket a little bit, you can navigate through that with Jimmy G. But I don't know, man. I don't know if I sound like a broken record here. The blueprint seems to be written that with Trey, you have a great schematic advantage against this defense. Now, again, execution, that's going to play into it. But just the additional running tendencies that you could bring to the game, plus the deep ball, just seems like you could open up so much of this offense. But we've had success against the Rams, so I'm not trying to question that. But a 95% or a 90% Jimmy Garoppolo just does not instill a lot of confidence, I think, in this fan base.
To me, the thing that I would be worried about with Trey Lance is if I'm Raheem Morris, I'm throwing everything I got out of rookie because he hasn't seen any of this. And I actually just kind of tuned in for maybe a couple minutes of David Lombardi, and he had Jeff Garcia on tonight. And Garcia was talking about how, teams started throwing some things at him that he had never seen, and he didn't know how to react to it. And those are the things that can happen when you have a rookie out there as well. And that was Garcia, who was a vet. Now, he was a guy who played over in the CFL and then came over late. I believe he was 29 years old when he was playing with the 49ers. Trey Lance, I mean, he's just turned 21 years old. He has much more limited snaps throwing the ball, and he doesn't know exactly what he's seeing. So I think it's even more challenging for him once coordinators really start to throw those things at him. And there's a learning process with that. Now, can he overcome it? Sure. Is he extremely talented, and can he use his elite traits to be able to overcome some of it? Of course, we saw that last week when slants are wide open. He can't really see it because he doesn't trust it for whatever reason. He bails out and still throws a pass for a first down. But it's still not the ideal way to play quarterback in the NFL. And again, if I'm Raheem Morris, I figure out a way to attack that and make him as uncomfortable as possible.
And picking up on Raheem Morris, he was in Washington with RG3 and Shanahan their rookie year. So it's not like this is all, brand new. These guys know each other because Raheem Morris was with Shanahan in Tampa, and in Washington. So like there's a lot of ties to each other through this, which is fun. You love the X's and O's and the schemes and all the friendship stuff and all that's going on behind the scenes.
My thing is this. You've run the same scheme largely 17 games, right? And now or 16 games. And now in this 17th game, you're asking your team to do something a little bit different, right? And you just touched on it, John. Raheem Morris knows Kyle Shanahan, but Kyle Shanahan knows Raheem Morris.
Yeah.
So who do you believe in to X's and O's, out X's and O's that guy? And that's the thing. See, a lot of this largely depends on Jimmy Garoppolo not turning the ball over, not being erratic, not overthrowing guys, not turning the ball over, throwing it to underneath linebackers. A lot of this is, yes, you have to run the ball. Obviously, you saw that on Monday Night Football when they played. But at the same time, Jimmy Garoppolo was on schedule, made the throws when he needed to make them. Now, does him at this hampered state, because there's no way he's 100% if he starts this game. No way he's 100%. Does him at this hampered state put him in the same boat? That's a decision that one way or another, when this game is over, we are going to discuss until the cows come home right after this game, one way or another. So, look, this 49ers team has given us every bit of content that we've ever needed. None of us have ever had to fish for anything since January all the way through. It only makes sense that this game is going to end up in the way that it's about to end up, with you deciding between Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance in a must-win situation, because I am not banking on the Falcons. I promise you I'm not banking on them. And the 49ers need to handle business. So this is on par for the 49ers right now at this point. It's been a chaotic year. Chaos is going to continue. But this decision right here, I don't want to overblow it because it's a must-win game, or I don't want to seem overdramatic, but one way or another, you're going to look back at this game and say, Kyle made the right decision, Kyle made the wrong decision. And we're just going to discuss that for the rest of the offseason.
Oh, and then if the 49ers win this game and it's Trey Lance, guess what? There's a new decision next week. Do you stay with the rookie if he plays really well, or do you go to Jimmy Garoppolo? And this is just the scenario that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan put out for themselves. Like they cooked this meal and now they got to eat it. And it's been a pretty fun meal. A lot of courses in this meal so far this year. Let's see if we can get to some dessert here. I can answer this one really quickly. Sam says, does Big Daddy Brunskill have a big game? Yes, of course he does. There was a few people in the chat earlier, Jason, that got mad at you for saying stuff about Aaron Donald. I think some fans are a little bit worried that we're going to make Aaron Donald mad and he's going to come out and have a
Look, all right, Brian. If he was going to get mad, he would have got mad after game 1. Game 4, game 5, that's not going to make you mad now.
Do you not remember him slamming his helmet down in the middle of the field against the 49ers?
Look, I could send a meme now, and I think you give me too much power. Is Aaron Donald looking at my meme and saying, I'm tired of this, I'm going to own Brunskill? Sometimes guys got your number. And there's a large sample size of Brunskill playing well. It's not my fault. And if Donald plays well, he's one of the best players in the world. I have nothing to do with that.
Sorry, I agree with you. If he was going to be mad, he would have gotten mad before. Brunskill owns him. What are you going to do? Ownership is ownership. It's 9/10 of the law. Let's go to this question. This is also a very easy answer for me. Mohammed says, this is a different Rams team than what the 49ers faced earlier this year. Y'all are talking as if it's the same Rams. Ask the Cardinals. I got one answer for that, and it is this.
Same old sorry-ass Rams. So long.
It is the same Rams. I mean, we've seen them turn the ball over a ton over the last few weeks, and that's what bit them in the butt in that game. The difference was the 49ers were extremely efficient offensively, running the ball and converting on third down, so it kept their offense off of the field. So it is the same. It's just different when it's a Ravens team without Lamar Jackson that can't capitalize consistently off of the mistakes from the Rams.
Yeah, I think, another thing I'd throw up there too, they haven't passed 400 total yards in over a month. So it's not like they're out there just lighting the world on fire with this offense. It's a great offense. Stafford's had a great year. There's no doubt about Cooper Kupp and all those things. But this isn't like the all-world offense that everybody thinks. They're not barely. I mean, I don't know. It's a different team. They're on a 5-game winning streak. I understand that. But when you're playing backup quarterbacks and turning the ball over 3 times in consecutive games, it's a little bit different. So it's not like this team's all world. Vegas doesn't even believe that as well. Their odds for the Super Bowl continue to descend, even though they're on this winning streak.
And John, the other thing is too, Akash from Niners Nation, he pointed out something. The 49ers are higher up in DVOA, EPA, every sort of stat that whatever it is that you want to look at. The 49ers have more explosive plays from their passing game in the last few weeks than the Rams do. And I think a lot of the misconceptions or the easily come to conclusions is, well, they got Stafford and OBJ and Van Jefferson and Cooper Kupp and all these numbers. No, it's not. When you realistically look at them and the way that they've been playing, when they play winning teams, they don't play well. When they play bad teams, they beat up on them. But realistically, right now, this is not the Rams team that you believe is in front of you at this point.
They're above average team. I think that's what they are. And that's not a knock. I'm not trying to throw shade. I don't think that they're like an all-world beater team or whatever. I don't think they're favorites really moving forward too much. They're favored to win this game by a good 6 points, which is pretty generous in my opinion. But we'll see, man. This is going to be a fun game. And we all knew it was going to come down to this. So the chances we get to play them again back-to-back weeks, I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping.
Absolutely. We're going to get out of here pretty quick. Appreciate everybody for jumping in the chat. If you have any last questions or comments, get them in right now. Andrew says, I think it totally depends on game flow. If the Niners can establish control over the game with Jimmy G, Kyle will stick with them. And I think it even goes beyond Jimmy G. Even if Trey's the quarterback, whoever, that's a huge key for the 49ers. We've seen it in all their big wins this year. We saw it against the Rams the first time. We've seen it in every team they've beaten. Even in some games they didn't win. The best thing they had going for them was they were the bully. They controlled the tempo of the game. They dominated the game clock. The scoreboard was in their favor. The game script was in their favor. They ran the heck out of the football, and that's just their recipe. That's the 49ers. So no matter who the quarterback is, that's what the 49ers want to do. Right, Croc?
That's what the 49ers want to do.
That's them. That's the 49ers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that shouldn't change for many teams. If you have an advantage over teams, it doesn't matter your quarterback, you exploit that advantage. And whether that's in the passing game or the running game, anything like that, it just, in terms of the way that the Rams run their defense, Kyle Shanahan knows how to attack that. And you have to hope that that's what they continue to do. They've done it 5 times with 2 different quarterbacks.
Well, I like this one. All-Pro Fred. He finally gets his – he said he wanted to put 2021 behind him. In 2022, does All-Pro Fred finally get his pick? I think that would make a ton of sense. Stafford throws another pick, and it's to All-Pro Fred. That would be a big play that would seal this game for the 49ers. What do you guys think? All-Pro Fred, over under 0.5 interceptions in this game. I also want to go around and see if there's like a secret superstar for you guys, like a player that nobody's really talking about this week that you think is huge for the 49ers. Croc, what do you think? Over under 0.5 interceptions for Fred Warner.
You know what? Just because it just feels like the right time, I'll take the over on that. I'll put a little money on that.
Like it.
You know, him just making the play when the 49ers need it most. And they're going to need it. You know, we talked about earlier predictions and things like that. I predicted the 49ers lose, but I'm looking for every reason for them to win. And, you know, a guy like Fred Warner sealing the game with an interception late, I could see that happening. I see somebody in the chat says DJ Jones being one of the unsung heroes, a guy making a play. I can definitely see that happening as well.
Love that.
Yeah, stole mine.
He's been a baller, man. Dude's
that was yours,
baller.
John. Yeah, John. I was going to call you John B. That's yours, Jason.
Bring it on, man.
DJ Jones. DJ Jones is one of the unheralded 49ers. He doesn't get enough credit. So yeah, let's give some.
He's getting paid next year. I'm excited for him, man. Yeah. He deserves it.
Hopefully, paid by the 49ers.
I will see about that. I'd love to have him back. I don't know how they're going to swing it. I'll say this: way over the half interception. I'm saying 2 interceptions, and I'm going to go. Man, why not? Let's do boy coming off the IR. Let's go Greenlaw out there, man. I want big play Dre out there making some plays because Marcel Harris, he's hurt. He's banged up as well. And I think Greenlaw finally comes back from that groin injury that's been messing with him. And I think he's going to have a game. He always seems to show up in big games. The injury scares me a little bit for sure. But why not, man? The story is written. This dude shows up whenever it's division games and it's the last week of the year. Why not, man? Let's just keep it going.
Greenlaw at the 1-inch line to end a regular season again. I
Why
like
not?
that. I like that a lot. Tony says Juwan Jennings. That's a good one. I like this one. I'm with Brad, another player coming off of IR. If Mosley's in this game, that's going to be huge for the 49ers and really solidify everything in the backfield, you know, especially if those players we expect to come back from COVID do come back from COVID. And you've got the rookie Ambry Thomas, you've got Dante Johnson at your disposal, and Jimmy Ward is back there. It'll be so big to have Emmanuel Mosley added to it. So I'm with Brad on that one. I'm going to go Emmanuel Mosley. Arden Key.
I got over under I got over of this. I got the over. He's gonna get one in this game. He will get one in this game. But DJ Jones was my guy in this terms. It's he's done too much weekly. Like you've seen him even in games when the 49ers have lost. He's making plays in the flat to the right, and he's just been everywhere, and he's invaluable. And I know a lot of fans have said, well, DJ Jones, what do you get from Javon Kinlaw? I think it's just a feather in your cap at this point now. Again, the same way that, you know, I have the opinion of that Azeez Al-Shaair has been the best linebacker on this team for this season, and that somehow is a diss at Fred Warner. I believe it's a beautiful thing. And the same way with DJ and Kinlaw. It's a beautiful thing. Like you literally are watching guys that can jump in just in case, and you can be versatile in terms of how you want to do things. So I think DJ Jones is going to have a hell of a game this week. He's been all over the field and playing through things, and I do think that Fred finally gets his interception. He seems determined, and that is dependent on Tart playing, Ward playing, because Tart puts him in a position and Ward puts him in a position and tells him where things are going to go, because as smart as Warner is, because he is, those guys really know what the concepts are coming, and he's able to make plays on that because of his instincts and his physical ability. And all of those things come together. I think that Fred finally gets his interception.
I was muted there. Croc, over under 100 rushing yards for Elijah Mitchell.
I'm going with the over. You know, Elijah Mitchell, there's one thing that, you know, you can guarantee with him. It's running for 100 yards. And as long as he's healthy for an entire game, Kyle Shanahan will feed him. He'll feed him. And we saw in the last game against the Rams, he ran for like, 130 yards almost or something near that. Obviously, last game did it. I mean, more times than not, when he's out there, Kyle's going to feed him. He breaks off some big runs. He's going to have a big day. So, and I think that's going to definitely – the 49ers are going to need that for sure.
John, I got one for you. Over under 1.5 sacks for Nick Bosa.
Man, I'm going to say under, but I'm going to say we're going to get a lot of sacks. I think Bosa gets 1 sack, but because of all the attention that keeps going to Bosa's side, everybody else has success. Arden Key, Jordan, Armstead, all those other guys get lots of hits on the quarterback, which you're going to need because, you know, we do have pick six Stafford out there. So, man, you get one of those, run back to the house, you're going to be all right. He leads the NFL in pick six. I see you dropping your head there, Jason.
It's true, though. It's true, though. Like, I'm just laughing more than anything.
Yeah. Got to stir up the people, man.
Good point here. The 49ers, Shaolin says over on the 100 rushing yards. He needs 122 for 1K. Let's get him 1,000 yards. He's going to carry the ball 27 times. So, yeah, he might get there. He's gonna carry the rock. Kyle Shanahan loves him some Elijah Mitchell. That's for sure. Let's end on this one. Here's a great call here. Ayuk, the catch 4. Like we're going historic with the play here. The catch 4. Jason, what do you think? The catch 4, are we ready for that? As a fan base, as a 49ers fan base, the catch 4, is it Trey Lance to Ayuk or is it Jimmy Garoppolo to Ayuk? What about the catch 4 being Ayuk or Deebo Samuel throwing to Trey Lance? What about that?
I feel like we got to save the catch. Like, we got to save that for the playoffs.
For playoff
right?
games. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I agree with Croc. But I'll tell you this.
Playoff game, guys. Come on.
Yeah,
17 is done.
The end zones, if the end zones ain't red, I mean, I know they're in LA, but if the end zones ain't red, you know, I don't know.
All right, here's what I'll say. If it's Trey, then Ayuk has a better shot at the catch, right? he worked out with Trey the entire time, and you saw his best receiving day come this week against a pretty good Texans pass defense. For everybody that wants to make fun of the Texans because they were susceptible to the run, they're actually really good against the pass. So you saw that connection kind of line up. If Trey's a starter, then Ayuk's got a shot at this. And the whole idea, Brian, if I can make a joke real quick, if I feel like, and this is not my thing. This is Pasquini Andrew on Twitter. Shout out my co-host on the Sprint Red Option podcast. Shameless plug. This is his theory, and I'm gonna run with it because I think he's right. When Kyle Shanahan dials up those Deebo Samuel throws to the end zone, it's only because he's trying to get Deebo Samuel as a quarterback put into the MVP discussion. Right? Like because the MVP is a quarterback thing, right? He's already a running back, he's already a wide receiver. If you get him 1 or 2 quarterback touchdowns, then now you cannot deny Deebo Samuel. But in terms of
that would ruin the other conspiracy theory that they're trying to make his contract value go down. If he becomes a quarterback, he even is more expensive than a wide receiver.
Well, Andrew has his conspiracy theory. We're running with it. I just feel like Kyle is trying to put Deebo in a spot where he gets, like, if we get 1 vote for Deebo, 1 first place vote for Deebo in the MVP, we're getting shirts made. Like, this is it. Like, this is Deebo Samuel, 1 first place vote. We get a shirt made for that. But in terms of if Ayuk is going to be the catch 4, it really depends on whether who's the starter. Trey Lance and him seem to have a rapport that they've built from workouts. And I know this isn't a fantasy football pod. There's a lot of us that do fantasy football. But I'm trying to buy Brandon Ayuk everywhere because next year is the year that you're going to start to see the fruits of the labor when it comes to all of those things. He had his best receiving day with Trey Lance, like right away. And that's kind of going to show you where you're going to go from here on out.
Croc, over under 49ers fans in LA, 50%. I know, Croc, you're going to be there. Eric has the question, and I do want, John, you to tell the listeners out there about what's going on with all the events happening. First, Croc, what do you think? Is it going to be a sea of red? Is it going to be a 49ers takeover at SoFi Stadium Sunday?
60-40 49ers.
Love
I
that.
love it. I love it. You're going to see a whole lot of brand new Rams jerseys because they don't have old fans. So it's going to be a whole lot, they're borrowing stuff from whatever. But it's
Sorry ass Rams. So long.
I love it, man. I love it, man. So yeah, we are partying this weekend. So if you want to come out with us, we're going to be partying on the beach at Sharky's at Hermosa Pier. It's going to be an awesome time. We rented out both floors. So upstairs is open air. So if you're concerned about COVID and all those things, you don't have to worry about that. You're not going to be inside. You can party upstairs. And then we have the downstairs kind of bar traditional atmosphere. We have that as well. If you would like to join us, 49ersrushroadtrip.com. Croc's going to be there. We got a lot of people coming out. It's going to be a blast. We got 5 autographed jerseys we're giving away with 4 other jerseys. Trivia. It's going to be a good time. And drinks going to be flowing. I can guarantee that.
Oh,
I actually fly out. I fly out in like 5 hours, 6 hours. So
that's what's up, man.
Must be nice, guys. Just have fun and send a lot of pictures and everything.
Over under 5 beers Sunday. Croc's going to be doing Croc likes to do the whiskey or the Hennessy. John, you a beer guy?
I'm a tequila guy, man.
Okay.
Tequila.
Hold on. Croc doesn't get drunk though.
No, he does not.
He does not get drunk, man. This man literally came to me and was like, I don't feel anything. And it was almost like, goodness gracious, bro. We've been drinking for hours. I don't know what this man is on. He's mixing too, right? Like mixing is the devil's elixir, right? At this point.
Don't do that.
I don't get it. I don't get it, Croc.
this is something new. Like I wasn't always like this. Trust me. Most of my friends and family know me for like throwing up. So over the last like 2 years, it's just, I don't know, it's been different. I've been able to really hold my alcohol, and it's actually not as fun though. Like I wanted to get on your guys' level.
He was mad in Philly. Like he came to me and he was just like, I'm mad. Like I've already had 7 shots. I don't feel anything. And I'm just like, bro, I'm done drinking at this point. Like I don't want to do anymore.
Well, John, now you have something to shoot for. I want to make sure Croc is in prime form for all the events, everything going on. Drop the website one more time.
49ersrushroadtrip.com.
49ersrushroadtrip.com. You can see Croc there. You can see John there. Jason, you going to be there?
No, I wish I could, man.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be here with my daughter watching the game and yelling into a camera after the end of the game. Unfortunately, I would love to be there with those guys, but you know what? If the 49ers have an extra game, then we got something to talk about, and maybe we can link up again, and we'll do it that way.
And I will say this: if we make the playoffs, 100% we're throwing a party wherever that game is. So we've already got situations set up for every city. There's 4 possibilities. We've got contingency plans all over the U.S.
Let's go.
I love it. Fantastic stuff. I'm starting to get a little bit of FOMO that I'm not going to be there in LA for.
You need to pull up, Brian. It's a good
Come on,
time,
Brian.
man. Pull
It's
up.
the playoffs. Playoffs have begun, gentlemen. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. Croc and I will be back here with the podcast post game. I don't know exactly when, what kind of state he's going to be in post game. If it's not going to be until Monday morning, we'll find out how that goes. But for Brian P, for Eric C, for John C, and for John B, appreciate all you guys jumping in with us and our special guests. Thanks for making Locked On 49ers your first listen every day. We'll be back next time. Talk to you.